French actor, singer and animal rights activist Brigitte Bardot has died aged 91. Europe correspondent Elias Clure joins us now. Elias, she was an iconic cultural figure, but it seems she struggled with life in the spotlight.
Brigitte Bardot, from sex kitten to roaring lion for animal rights. She wasn't just a star, she was the face of a generation. Imagine a woman so beautiful and bold that she sparked a sexual revolution. And then at the height of her fame, she quit Hollywood forever to fight for animals. This is the unabridged, unforgettable story of Brigitte Bardot, known simply as BB. So why did she quit? And what happened when the world's most famous actress decided to declare war? Before the legend, there was Brigitte Anne-Marie Bardot, born in Paris in 1934 to a well-off conservative family. Her father was a strict disciplinarian, while her mother was the more artistic influence on Brigitte. Brigitte trained to a high level in ballet, eventually attending the prestigious Conservatoire de Paris. But destiny flipped the script. At 15, she graced the cover of Elle magazine, and her arresting beauty didn't go unnoticed. One man in particular, Roger Vadim, saw a fire in her that others missed. He would become her mentor, her husband, and the architect of her image. In 1956, Vadim's film, And God Created Woman, exploded onto screens. Brigitte's sensual, free-spirited performance scandalized audiences and made her an international sensation. With her tousled blonde hair, pouty lips, and unapologetic sexuality, she became the ultimate symbol of female liberation. The film, and Bardot's untamed, hedonistic performance, was a cultural detonation. Her frank sensuality was a direct challenge to the stuffy morals of the 1950s. The world had never seen anyone like her, and she was instantly labeled a sex kitten, a nickname that stuck for decades. The great philosopher Simone de Beauvoir even wrote an essay about her, arguing that Bardot was a locomotive of women's history and a symbol of female liberation. For the next 15 years, Bardot was more than a movie star. She was a cultural trailblazer. She starred in nearly 50 films, working with powerhouse directors like Jean-Luc Godard in Contempt and Louis Malle in Viva Maria. But her influence stretched far beyond the cinema. Her signature pout, her messy blonde beehive, and her effortless style came to define the fashion of an era. She became so deeply woven into the fabric of France that in the late 1960s, her face was chosen as the official model for Marianne, the emblem of the French Republic, her image appearing on statues and stamps across the country. She was, as one French president put it, the nation's most important export. But the blinding glare of that fame was casting a very dark shadow. Behind the glamorous BB facade was a woman crumbling under the immense pressure. Her life was a public spectacle. She was married 4 times, had numerous affairs. She was pursued mercilessly by the paparazzi who hunted her day and night. The constant invasion of privacy and the emptiness of the celebrity machine took a heavy toll on her mental health, resulting in several incidents that were later seen as suicide attempts. Bardot subsequently spoke about how much she despised the film industry, a world she found shallow and artificial. She had a son, but candidly admitted she felt completely unprepared for motherhood, a confession that sparked its own firestorm and led to a difficult relationship. For years after she left Nicholas's father to raise him alone, her life was a whirlwind of public adoration and private agony, leaving her desperate for a way out. The turning point wasn't a single event, but a gradual disenchantment. There's a story about her on a film set where she saw a goat tied up, destined for a barbecue after the shoot. Bardot was so distraught that she bought the goat and smuggled it back to her luxury hotel, to the complete shock of the staff. It was a small, almost absurd act, but it showed exactly where her heart was. She felt more at home with animals than with actors. Then, in 1973, she made an announcement that shocked the world. After appearing in nearly 50 films, she was retiring. At the absolute peak of her fame, just 39 years old, Brigitte Bardot walked away from it all. It was, as she put it, a way to get out elegantly. But for Bardot, this was no quiet exit. It was the explosive start of a whole new life. Freed from the film industry, Bardot threw herself into a new, all-consuming mission: animal rights. Her passion was reportedly ignited after she saw disturbing images from slaughterhouses, an experience that led her to become a vegetarian. After retiring, this private crusade went public. In 1977, she traveled to the ice fields of Canada to protest the hunting of baby seals. The images of her on the ice next to a seal pup were broadcast around the globe and became iconic. She used her fame like a weapon, lobbying politicians and forcing animal cruelty into the mainstream conversation. In 1986, she made her commitment permanent by auctioning off her jewelry and personal belongings, raising 3 million French francs to establish the Fondation Brigitte Bardot. Recognized as a public utility by the French government, the foundation became a major force for animal protection. It operates shelters, funds sterilization campaigns for strays, and takes legal action against animal cruelty, campaigning against everything from the fur trade to bullfighting. She had traded movie star glamour for a bullhorn and, by all accounts, was more formidable than ever. But as her activism grew, a much darker side of her public persona began to surface. Starting in the 1990s, Bardot made a series of increasingly inflammatory public statements. Her targets were often Muslims and immigrants. She wrote a letter criticizing the Muslim festival of Eid al-Adha, declaring that France was tired of being led by the nose by this population that is destroying us. She openly supported the far-right political party of Jean-Marie Le Pen, and her fourth husband, Bernard Dormal, was a former advisor to the party. The consequences were swift and serious. French courts convicted Bardot 5 times for inciting racial hatred. In one case, she was fined 20,000 euros for calling the inhabitants of the French island of Réunion degenerates who had kept their savage genes. Her words alienated many former fans and created a jarring contradiction. How could a woman who dedicated her life to compassion for animals be so full of intolerance for people? The sex symbol of the 60s had become a deeply polarizing agitator. With the passing of Brigitte Bardot on December 28, 2025, at the age of 91, the world's reaction is as divided as her life had become. The announcement from her foundation, based in her longtime home of Saint-Tropez, marked the end of an era. French President Emmanuel Macron mourned a legend of the century, while far-right politicians celebrated her as a patriot. Animal welfare groups honored her fierce and unwavering commitment to giving a voice to the voiceless. Her legacy is a tangled one, impossible to neatly summarize. She was a cinematic trailblazer who forever changed our ideas of liberation and beauty. And she was a tireless activist whose foundation has had a real positive impact on animal welfare across the globe. And yet, she was also a public figure whose final decades were defined by hateful rhetoric that caused real controversy. Brigitte Bardot's story is a study in contradictions: a sex kitten who craved privacy, a movie star who rejected fame, and an animal lover convicted of hating people. She remains one of the most fascinating and confounding figures of our time, leaving behind a legacy that is as brilliant as it is bizarre and as compassionate as it is controversial. If you found this look into a complicated legacy fascinating, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the lives of Hollywood's most iconic figures. What do you think of Brigitte Bardot's second act? Let us know in the comments below.